Hey YouTube, and welcome to Donnelly Studios. Today I will be showing you how to put yourself into a lookout tower using a green screen, as well as putting the lookout tower into your scene. Here's a clip of what we'll be creating. So for this effect you will need Adobe After Effects, Photoshop and Google Images. Okay, so let's jump straight in. We'll start by opening After Effects just to import our footage and see what we'll be working with. Here's the green screen footage that I filmed of Leo walking, pacing around as if he's in a lookout tower. We filmed this in my garden because it's the only place we had space, and surprisingly the lighting's okay. So when filming, take into consideration the angle of your environment and green screen footage. It's important that they match for a good looking result. As you can see, I filmed this at an angle because the picture that I'll be working with for my environment is roughly the same sort of angle. So when I put my lookout tower in, you know, the angles should match up. So next we'll go to Google and type in lookout tower. I've already found my photo, but we just want to find something that matches the angle of our footage. So here's the photo that I found, and as you can see it's pretty similar to the footage that I've got. So I think that this will work pretty well. So once you've found your photo, you want to import it into Photoshop, and then we can cut the background out and incorporate it with our environment footage. So for this, seeing as the sky is pretty much one colour, I'll just use the magic wand tool and zoom in a little bit, and I'll just duplicate my layer first just in case I mess anything up. Okay, so that image isn't working too well for me. The resolution's a bit too small, which I didn't take into consideration. So if when you're on Google looking for a lookout tower, if you come up to this little cog icon here and click Advanced Search, you can change the image size and therefore get a higher resolution. So I'm going to choose anything higher than 10 megapixels. I think that would do. And then click Advanced Search. So now any lookout tower that I see is a much higher resolution. Now I just need to find one that looks like it will match my footage again. Okay, so I think this one's pretty good. It might be a bit dark, but let's give it a go. So I'm going to copy this and put that into Photoshop. Get rid of that. And I'll just get back to work by deleting the background again like I was before. You can already see this is much clearer. Okay, so I think that's going to do for me. And it's not perfect. There's tiny little things that I could probably, spend a decade on getting rid of, like these, but when you zoom out it's not that noticeable. I think when you put it in the footage, it's all a matter of how fussy you want to be, I guess, really. If I was doing this for a film, then absolutely I'd spend a lot more time, make sure I get rid of all of it. Okay, so anyway, once we've got our tower isolated from the background, the next thing you want to do is come up, have a look at the balcony, as obviously our actor will be walking along here. So what I need to do is cut this banister out so it's a separate layer, so that when we put the actor there, he's between the little housing here and the banister. Okay, so we'll start by duplicating the layer, and then I'll just turn the bottom one off for the now. Anyway, so we'll just come in here and we'll just cut out all the bits which are obviously behind the banister. Should be pretty straightforward as they're straight lines. So anyway, so do that, make selection and delete. So you know, we can add our background image back in there. Alright, so it's just separating the background and foreground basically. So I'm probably going to have my actor walking from about here to here. So any of this I'm not going to worry about. I'm just going to cut out here and make sure that my actor's there. So there we go. As you can see, I've cut out a few bits behind this fence. I can add the background back in, and so now our actor will be between the two. I'm just going to clean this all up a little bit by selecting just some random bits around the edges and feather it by 1 just to bring out some harshness and whatever, and I'll do the same on these banisters because I don't want perfect straight lines, just look unnatural. So I'll just do that all here, select modify feather by 1, okay, and hit delete, and then so there we go, it's looking half decent, good enough. So now that our photo is done, I'll import the background footage that we'll be working with, the environment footage. In my case it's a photo. So here's my environment photo, and what I will do is just delete the background layer from here, Control A to select all and Control C to copy it, and then we will Control V to paste that into our environment. As you can see, the angle actually matches up pretty good. So now if I hit Control T, brings up the scale options, and we can move it around as such. So if you hold Shift and scale, it will keep the proportion the same. So I'm just gonna scale that to about there. I think that looks pretty good. And just try and find a place where it looks relatively natural. Maybe about there. And then hit enter when you've finished, and you can zoom in. And actually, I got really lucky with this photo. It blends in with the woods, the colour and everything, perfect. So, pretty happy with that. Came out better than I thought. Okay, so the next thing is obviously this big chunk here, which obviously doesn't blend at all. So, grab the pen tool and sort of grab around the edges slightly like this, and come up to about there. Just click around, come down, and then go to path, click work path, make selection, and feather it by about 15. I think will be alright. And then you can just hit delete, and it's feathered a little bit. And then what I would do is just grab your pen tool again and grab some grass. Grab some of the grass that would be behind your layer. So just select it like this, and do the same again. Make selection 15, and then just duplicate it by pressing Ctrl J. And then you can move this layer above your lookout tower, and as you can see, it's sort of feathered it in quite nicely. Okay, so what I forgot to do was select my isolated layer and put that into the photo at the same time, so that when I adjusted the size that they would have matched up automatically. But I'll just have to do this the hard way now, so I'll just copy this in like I did the last layer, paste it, and just have to try and match it up best I can. Shouldn't be too difficult actually. The rest of it can actually be deleted. all I need is the banister. There we go. And that's all we need. So as you can see, that lines up well enough. Okay, so now that this is done, we have our lookout tower, and we have our grass, and we have our banister. So best thing to do would be to label these. So that you can put them in order again when we go into After Effects. Or handrail. So now that we'll save that as a PSD. Save it. Let's save it to my desktop for now. Lookout tower. Save that as a PSD. And then we'll go into After Effects and import our lookout tower PSD. And we'll choose composition and editable layer styles. Okay, and you can just open this folder here, and here's all your Photoshop files. So obviously that's my background, I'll delete that, and I'll just select all of this and drag it down to the composition. Hide the video footage for now, and scale this down so that it fits the frame. There we go, that will do. Okay, so obviously as you can see, this needs covering up again, so we'll sort our layers out. So layer lookout tower goes under grass, and the banister goes above the lot, and this being our background goes here. So there we go, just like it was in Photoshop. You can turn the layers on and off. So now what we need to do is we need to put my actor Leo into the lookout tower. So here we have some green screen footage of him walking around like I showed you earlier. Okay, so first thing we will do is come over to our effects and presets and type in selective color. We'll drag this onto our green screen footage, and we will come to colors, select greens, and bring cyan down to -100, -100 for magenta, and we'll bring yellows up to +100, and this just makes the green on the green screen a bit more green, a bit more easier to work with. Okay, so next thing we will go to effects and presets and type in key light, and again drag this to our green screen footage, and we'll select the color picker, zoom in to our actor and select a bit of green that's fairly close to our actor. Okay, so that's already looking pretty good. Just to clean this up a little bit, I will come to view and select status, then go to screen gain and bring this up just to get rid of some of the black, not a lot, I mean to create more black. We'll then bring our screen balance down so that the whites show a little bit more on our subject, again not too much, and then we'll come down to screen matte and bring clip black up to reveal some more black, clip white down to reveal some more white, and then we'll bring our clip roll back by about -0.2, if that, and we'll turn screen blur on to 3. Now we'll come to view and choose final result, and as you can see this is looking pretty good. Turn our layers off. Okay, so now we'll mask out our green screen and we'll scale him down to fit inside our lookout tower. Now the hard part might be getting the size to match, so it's all just trial and error here really. I think I'll even rotate that slightly. And I think that's looking pretty good. We'll drag our footage and bring it underneath the banister layer. So now we have our actor walking back and forth. And it looks like he's on the tower. I think I'll scale this down some more because I don't imagine a banister would ever be that low. So I'll just bring it down 22 maybe. Move him down a little bit. And there we have it. Now, seeing as this is the first time I've done this effect, I think it looks pretty good. You could spend a lot more time on this, especially if you're working on a film. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so all I'll do now is, now that everything is lined up and looking pretty good, is obviously the obvious colour corrections, just to blend things in a little bit more. So all I'll do with this lookout tower is bring in a tint. So I drag a tint onto my tower, and obviously you'll have to make sure that you do this for your banister layer as well. So I'll just bring this down to about 30%. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It just takes a bit of colour out. My background footage is pretty blur, pretty dull. I'll just copy this tint onto the banister layer, and then I will just make a new adjustment layer. So you can hit Control Alt Y. Again, bring a tint onto it. Bring it down to maybe about 20. No, just a bit too much. 15. Doesn't do too much. And brightness and contrast. And because I filmed this by taking the contrast out, I will have to add quite a lot of contrast in again. So bring this up. A bit more, I think, 45. Yep, and then I would maybe just bring the brightness down a tiny bit. There we have that. And the best thing to do would be to use a plugin like Looks, Magic Bullet Looks. There's a bunch of presets on there where you can get a much more cinematic film look. Unfortunately I haven't installed that at the moment, so I won't be able to do that. So once you're done and you're all happy with it, you just have to render it. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, please comment, rate and subscribe. And if there's anything that you didn't like, please just let me know. I'm always looking for feedback so that I can improve my tutorials in future. Other than that, new short film should be coming out in May with any luck. Should be pretty exciting, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.